Happy Friday, welcome to the 3 Things I Learned, Saas Sports Tech and Live Events. We're going to start this week with plans to return to the office for major companies. So as many of you know, we sell enterprise software into major corporations. We talk to them pretty regularly. This week, the Pac-12 made news when they announced that they're going to shutter the opulent headquarters that they've had in San Francisco since the mid-2000s. The butt of many jokes that Larry Scott spent so much money on such a large office, and that they're going to move permanently to work from home and flexible work. Now, the Great Resignation unofficial union, that is social media, applauded this move, that this is the future of work. We talk to businesses regularly at the very high levels about what their plans are, and they're all planning on coming back. They're afraid to say it first and be the first ones to publicly say it, but by the end of the summer, you're hearing from me and from many that they're mostly going to be back in the office, back to the way it was. You know, staff for the most part, they don't want to come back, and that's not a surprise. Gas prices, a commute, childcare, side hustle, moving away from the office through the pandemic, these are the most common reasons given. But there are cracks in that informal resignation union as companies are starting to give incentives to people who are returning to the office in the form not only of capital, but also in moving up in the organization with prestige. And they're starting to look more offshore, as it's much cheaper to go offshore for somebody than to have somebody that works from home in another state that's not in the offices. Unpopular opinion, I think we're going to be back sooner than a lot of people think, just after one more summer of fun. Larry Scott wasted a lot of money on that office, but I also personally believe the Pac-12 will be back in the office by 2025, but we can check on that. That's the positive of putting things out there publicly. That's number 1. Number 2. Life is too short to do shitty things, even if it helps you get ahead. There was a great movie in the mid-2000s called Thank You for Smoking that won Sundance. And in it, they talk about the yuppie Nuremberg defense. For those who are unaware of what the Nuremberg defense is, it was when the Nazi Nuremberg trials happened. And the common defense was given that I was just doing my job. I was just doing what I was told, which is why I was doing these horrible war crimes. And it didn't work in Nuremberg. And it doesn't work in the yuppie Nuremberg defense either when you're looking back on your legacy. A popular influencer on LinkedIn shared some tips to get the green light to start selling hard against competition, aka bashing it, and then reminding the customer that you gave them the okay to do that. Yeah, you could probably do it, and yeah, it might work, but is this really what we want from our life and from our businesses? We want to go around tearing other things down as opposed to building ourselves up? We had that conversation when we started this company and how we were going to sell against our competitors, even to our competitors' customers. Now, twice I can remember I did bash competitors. I remember them because it doesn't happen very often. It was just about a decade ago, even though it feels like it was yesterday. One time was with a team, and the NBA called me with disappointment at my behavior. Not even to discipline me, but just disappointed in how I behaved, and trust me, I was disappointed enough. A couple months later, we were in a very tough banking RFP, which we lost. But during the RFP at one point, we knew we were going to lose, so we took to talking about our competition in one of the meetings as we were encouraged to by the decision maker. I walked out of there feeling awful. This wasn't the life we wanted. You know, we only get one trip around this carousel. And in Matthew 4, when Jesus is tempted by Satan, the last temptation is, bow your knee to me and I will give you all of this. And they're overlooking the world, all of the worldly things, money, power, success, and fame. Quote, because it is mine to give. So yeah, we can probably use a simple tip to bash our competitors, but is that the success we want? And if we do want it, do we want it at that price? I'm not so sure. That's number 2. And number 3 comes from Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I will keep it short, and I will encourage everybody to read the entire chapter. Do not go look at the summaries, but read the whole chapter. You can be pretty smart if you just shut up. The entire chapter is on listening. And you think, as many of his rules do seem simple, that this is a simple chapter on listening, but it's not. He brings to light a lot of bias in redefining what listening really is, and then how we make sense of the world when we talk to others. So the rule is actually listen to others as if they know something you don't. It sounded so simple, but I suppose most groundbreaking truths generally do. That's it for this week on the 3 Things. We hope we see everybody next week.